negotiate them to forgive part of the balance. Could hurt your credit, but
you could, and I agree with everything that Joe has said up to this point, and I think on a more practical side, we have to realize, and I've said this many times on your show before, is that credit is not a right, it is a privilege, and we have to respect it, and we have to realize that if she truly has that desire to pay off that credit card debt, she's got to change her life. Maybe that is getting a second job, maybe that's going back and living with family members, whatever it may be. The only way she's going to get out of this debt is to change her life and the way she spends her money. So she really needs to make that her #1 priority. And of course, contacting the credit card companies is going to help, but the biggest thing for her is going to be changing her lifestyle and her spending habits.
And that actually is something you talk about all the time, is your budget.
Absolutely. He's right. I mean, you really have to change your habits. You have to look at your expenses. We talk about cash flow all the time. But two things I think that go a little bit further than you have to make the efforts that the other folks have said, contact the credit card company, see if you can reduce the loan or pay down the one. But if you have a cash flow issue and you absolutely can't get that second job and you have no other cash, I think the next thing to do is to go to a debt consolidator, because I just experienced just this week talking to two people. They don't feel the confidence level to make those calls. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to negotiate. And the debt consolidator can help. They do it all the time.
How do you find a reputable one, though, like a not-for-profit? Because there are companies that prey on people.
You're right. That's a challenge. There, off the top of my head, I can't think of a government site that has credit consolidation companies. And last, it's not always the best thing, but last resort would be to file personal bankruptcy. I mean, it's not the best thing to do, but I think we have to be aware of all the options you have, and that to me would be the option of last resort. It's going to, affect your credit on a going forward basis, but that is, last relief.
Well, let's have people look at that bankruptcy as that last resort. I feel that people need to take responsibility and do everything in their power. If there's medical bills, if there is a job loss, and this is the reason why they have that credit card debt, I think that we have some sympathy for them if they have to file for a Chapter 13. But if it is truly because they're buying shoes, going on expensive trips, I think that we're drawing a line in the sand as far as being ethical, and we need to make sure that we have that debt paid off in the right fashion.
Alan, you want to
just very quickly, trying to get the people before they get into that much trouble. Just remember, for the most part, not only are the interest rates huge on credit cards, for the most part, they're not tax deductible. Two things to bear in mind. In certain cases, they can be tax deductible. Try to check. It depends upon what the money is used for. But more importantly, if you hear about a 15% interest rate, just know, because it's not tax deductible, it's basically the equivalent of a 25% interest rate or more. It's huge, and you've got to keep away from it. You got to not let it grow.
I found an organization, one of the organizations. It's the National Foundation for Credit Counseling. It's nfcc.org. It's one of the places that you can start to find a reputable credit counselor.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I mean, this isn't about ethics. It's about understanding all your options. And as I said, the bankruptcy would be the option of last resort.
Let's get to an email. George has written in, I have $30,000 from a CD that matured. It's sitting in savings. What can I invest in? I have 8.5 years left in the Marine Corps. And a shout out to you for serving our country. And do not own a home because I move in 2.5 years. What's wrong with keeping it in cash, Big Joe Clark?
Well, the only thing wrong with that is that there's absolutely no interest at all that's on it. And we all think inflation is starting to creep up at least a little bit in the standard of living. If you've got 8.5 years, you can put together a little diversification and get in there. There's nothing wrong. Cash is always king when you need it. There's nothing wrong with keeping a little bit of cash, but go ahead and try to build a little bit of diversification in the portfolio inside of some equities and inside of some fixed income right now. If you've got 8.5 years, there are some opportunities inside of there, but don't get greedy. Don't be all in or all out at any one time. That's our motto.
Jacob, what do you think?
And another thing that he could do, and I wouldn't suggest this for all of the cash that he has, but he could be looking at contributing to a Roth IRA. That is the big buzz right now, is taking advantage of an investment that can grow tax-free for retirement. Now he has to realize that if he does put money in there, that it does need to be growing for tax-free for retirement if it's not used for a down payment on his first home or for education or medical expenses. So it's an illiquid asset for intensive purposes, but nonetheless there could be a portion of that money that can be growing tax-free in a diversified portfolio of stocks and bonds.
Rich?